Okay, so we had, picking up where we left off at, we had 5x minus 12, and our denominator would be x times x minus 3 times x minus 2. And we cannot factor anything from the 5x minus 12, so we are done. Okay, now we come here to, actually this is D, but when I got rid of A, it changed these letters here. But this is D. Now we look here at this next problem. We need to factor these denominators before we make any type of determination as to what to do. So x squared minus 2x plus 1 will give us x minus 1 times x minus 1. And then here we add 3x squared minus 3. We can factor out a 3. And we add x squared minus 1. Now here's the issue. X squared minus 1 is the difference of two squares, right? So we would have to factor that again. So we add x minus 2 over x minus 1 times x minus 1 minus 4 over 3 times x minus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, now we look here at our denominators. Now, we have an x minus 1 here, but we're missing a 3 and an x plus 1, right? So now what I'm going to have to do, since you already copied this last problem, I'm going to have to erase this off of here because I need the room. Alright. So now, we will multiply this by 3 times x plus 1, the numerator and the denominator. Now, over here, we have an x minus 1, but we're missing an x minus 1. So we need to multiply this numerator and denominator by x minus 1. Now, what I may need you all to do, because actually I can scroll this over. We can multiply the numerator and denominator by x minus 1. That's what was missing on this side here. So now when we multiply this numerator, we add 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. All over, our denominator would be 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 1. Then this is minus. This would be 4 times x minus 1 all over 3 times x minus 1 times, I ran out of space here again. So we add 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, now what we could do is this here. If we multiply these two parentheses first, then we will multiply it by 3, and that will give us our numerator. And then we can multiply these parentheses down here. But let's first do this. We add 3. X plus 1 times x minus 2. When you multiply that out, that will give you x squared minus x minus 2. All over. This would be 3 times x minus 1 parentheses squared times x plus 1. Because we know x minus 1 times x minus 1 is x minus 1 parentheses squared. Okay, now we would take this 4. We will have 4x minus 4 for our numerator, and our denominator would be 3 times x minus 1 parentheses squared times x plus 1. Now we would take 3 and multiply it by this parenthesis. We add 3x squared minus 3x minus 6 all over 3 times x minus 1 parentheses squared times x plus 1. It's minus 4x minus 4 over 3 times x minus 1 parentheses squared times x plus 1. Now, we can subtract. We have the same denominator. So we'll still leave our 3x squared minus 3x minus 6. And since this minus sign is in front here, we change the sign of both of these values. So it'll be minus 4x plus 4 all over 3 times x minus 1 squared times x plus 1. Now we combine the like terms. 3x squared remains 3x squared. Negative 3x minus 4x is a negative 7x. And a negative 6 plus 4 will give us a minus 2. And so we will have all over 3 times x minus 1 squared times x plus 1. And this is our final answer. Okay, now we move on to the next page. So, on this next page, we have first this caution. It says, do not confuse the procedure used to multiply or divide two rational expressions with those used to add or subtract two rational expressions. Adding and subtraction requires a common denominator. Now, we have f divided by g. We know we do not need a common denominator here. So, we would take the value of f of x, which is 2x minus 12, all over x plus 4. And then that will be divided by g, which is x minus 6 over 3x plus 1. Now, what I would do is this here. I know we have to change this division to multiplication, but before I do that, I will factor out this 2. And that will give me x minus 6 all over x plus 4. Division will become multiplication and take the reciprocal of these two values. Now we can simplify out what they have in common. They have in common an x minus 6. So now our final answer would be 2 times 3x plus 1 all over x plus 4. And this is the final answer because we cannot simplify any further. Now, are there any questions on A? Yes.
Would you multiply out the top?
No, you don't need to.
Could you?
You could. Yes. Okay, now, if we look here at B, we have subtraction here. So we know with subtraction, we must have the same denominator. But let's write this out. We have 2x minus 12 over x plus 4 minus x minus 6 all over 3x plus 1. Now we need to find a common denominator here. Now if we look here at these denominators, they have nothing in common. So we will multiply each one of these by their denominators. So this denominator x plus 4, you will multiply the numerator and denominator by 3x plus 1. Okay, and then over here, you will multiply this numerator and denominator by x plus 4. And of course, we will put these in parentheses. Okay, so now in our numerator, we add 3x plus 1 times 2x minus 12 all over 3x plus 1 times x plus 4. And minus, we will add x minus 6 times x plus 4 all over 3x plus 1 times x plus 4. Now when we multiply these numerators, we will end up getting 6x squared minus 34x minus 12. That will take care of this numerator. Now we go to the next numerator. Now the next numerator, we will have x squared minus 2x minus 24 all over the 3x plus 1 and x plus 4. Okay, now we want to combine like terms. We want to combine these fractions. And we know our denominator, 3x plus 1 and x plus 4. Now our numerator, we had 6x squared minus 34x minus 12. And then since this minus sign is in front, we would change the sign of everything in the numerator. So it'd be a minus x squared plus 2x plus 24. Now we would combine like terms. 6x squared minus x squared is 5x squared. Negative 34x plus 2x will give us a negative 32x. And negative 12 plus 24 will give us a positive 12. And that's all over 3x plus 1 and x plus 4. And this is our final answer. And we are done.